Good morning, YouTube, and today we're going to start our discussion on Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V. We're going to start on episodes 35 and 36 and just talk about our opinions. If this works out pretty well, we'll start doing it on a continual basis and maybe go back to the previous ones. Anyway, so 35 and 36 are pretty dark.
So, episode 35, 36, first one's called The Academia and the Resistance, or something like that, which, it alludes to what's going on. So, the previous episode, they were doing the whole Miami tournament. It's a weird name for a tournament in Japan. It's pretty cool. Sora just lost his duel, and things got real, because apparently duels are real now for the weird guys. Sora's a weird dude. Holy crap. So, basically, he gets better, he tries to go fight Kurosaki, the guy he lost to before. He lost to Ichigo Kurosaki. And it doesn't exactly end too well for him this time again because of the exposition and stuff, which is pretty cool. It's a freaking dark series. Pretty dark. And arguably, it's probably one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series up to this point because of the subject matter.
Well, can I just throw something off about the dark aspect? Is that this series as a whole has been bright.
Yeah.
And bright colors almost the entire time. I think there have been a few episodes done at nighttime, but this is the first, 2 episodes of complete darkness. And then they do, of course, it's a visual technique where you make bright, happy, and then dark, sad, and serious.
Oh, yeah.
But I really like the way they did the art direction, because usually when you do dark episodes, you usually have just black, and everything's black except for maybe a face or one blast occasionally. But I think there's a nice color palette, and there's a real change of tone in the entire thing. It's been building and building and building ever since, I guess, even episode 1, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And all the different tie-ins that they're trying to do, we'll get back to that in a moment. I like the aesthetics. The music itself has also changed too.
Yeah.
In a darker tone. Granted, including the intro and the ending I missed the original intro. Music itself during the actual episodes are pretty cray-cray. What I really like about this series too is that they don't try and lose the duels and the storyline. They keep them interesting.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't lackluster and say, oh, plot. Well, I guess there are plenty of plot device cards, but they make them interesting and not just completely one-sided, or you know what's going to happen, because you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah,
definitely. There's a term in Game of Thrones called sexposition, where clearly you can give the origins of that term. But they're kind of doing that a lot these days with Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's duels position, just whatever. It sounds weird, but and a lot of it this time was interesting, especially stopping the duel halfway through, and then Yu-Gi jumps in and he's like, "I'm gonna play the game," and all that happy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty interesting ride. So do you want to talk about the big reveal?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay. Go. All right. So. I'm pretty sure many of you, there's been a whole lot of major theories bouncing around especially because of last episode, how it was revealed that Sora is part of a coalition that hunted down Exceed users, sorry. And what makes that even cooler is the fact that, they hunted down Exceed users. That's freaking awesome, right? And, so it's revealed that they're all part of, different dimensions. So Sora's from his own dimension. He's from the fusion dimension, where they're all defined. Academia, yeah. Well, Academia is the name of the group.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they're all defined by the type of summoning they use. So Sora, who obviously uses fusion summoning, is from the fusion summoning dimension, and he works for Academia. And the Exceed dimension, well, really, you can tell, but Kurosaki and Yuto are from that one, which is freaking awesome, because and they keep throwing allusions to to Heartland, which, if you guys remember, Zexal was sort of the place where Zexal took place. So it's all starting to come together in this way that the shows have sort of been their own self-contained universes, and the only ones that haven't so far seem to be GX in the original series, which is pretty cool. But GX GX would technically be what happens, or the second part of the episode where Sora gets sent back to his dimension and he lands in Academia, and you'll notice that everybody is wearing Slifer Red and Obelisk Blue and Raw Yellow jackets. So, that's pretty cool. And so then this other guy shows up at the end, who I kind of think is Crowler, maybe, because they do another a little scene where they're invading the Exceeds dimension. They're Heartland, yeah, sorry, they're invading Heartland, and it's nothing but ancient gear soldiers. So that that makes me think that someone who used ancient gear soldiers, wink wink, is could be the leader of Academia. I know your opinion differs on that.
I don't think it actually is Crowler. I mean, I think that they might have some sort of tie-ins with the two, but I think that it might be an entirely different universe based off of the actual things. Like, I think maybe for the new movie that's coming out or whatever, they're going to maybe try and tie those in. But I think they're going to be universes based off of what was set up in the original series GX 5D Zexal, but they're going to be entirely different things, so they can try and fit in different plot ties.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if Crowler actually ever used Soldier. I think... Or Knight. Excuse me, it was Knight. It wasn't Soldier. I'm not sure if he actually used Knight, but of course, Ancient Gears is Ancient Gears. I'm really interested to see what happens with this whole synchro business. And what is it, Yugioh is his name?
Yeah.
Yugioh. I think that this will be an interesting little aspect. And the fact that whenever Yuya and Yugioh first started dueling, the first time they've seen each other or even knew that each other existed for the first time in the series, 35 episodes.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget about that part about it because they've been sort of going on separate different things, which I want to bring back up Yuya in a little bit, but he talks about his heart burning and stuff like that. And usually when you have interdimensional theories and stuff like that, you having the same person seeing each other like via time or space or dimensions, they
create a paradox.
And so I'm interested to see what happens here and like what we'll see, whichever the fusion version, because we've seen 3 of the same guy so far, whichever the fusion version is.
Right.
Side note about Yuya is that Yuya has experienced the same thing that basically every other protagonist has done, with starting off as a lackluster duelist.
Yeah.
But this episode, I feel like it sort of made me realize how much he's actually progressed, because usually you have, your decent, you have your ambient second being come in to make them better.
Right.
And it's just like that. But his has actually been a gradual process, and you see it so much more in this episode versus what you've seen so far. Next week, we need those dual discs in real life. They're essentially smartphones that you can duel with. It's cussing cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Emergency provisions.
Oh, yeah.
I like how they used emergency provisions.
That's pretty interesting.
The fact that everyone's a summonist, that's a coin term, copyright.
Summonist.
Copyright Sonic Ducks 2014.
You should make that appear right there.
That's a
Summonist.
#summonists. #everyone summoneth. You've seen usually whenever you have people feel things, like you made the comments, what was the whenever Sora first attacks Yugioh, what was it you said?
The duels are getting really real. Like they're starting. I mean, it's clear that they've got some sort of technology, or that the what I should say,
monsters.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so they've either got some sort of technology that's allowing these duels to not be holographic and just be actual duels, or the tears in the dimensions are causing whoever duels, who are outside of the standard dimension, as the one that Yuya's in is called, because when Sora, I mean, obviously, whenever Kurosaki first shows up, he uses Raid Raptors and just destroys this one kid and throws him up against a bridge or something.
Yeah.
And then Yuzu notes during that first duel with Yuto that, she actually felt wind when he did his attack and all that stuff. And of course, that one character being in the hospital. So, but it only ever happens when it's one of those other duelists. Well, no, when it's one of the Xyz duelists. Because when Sora was dueling Yuya that first time, nothing happened. But I think that rule is going to be rewritten because it was more or less like, we're not sure where we're going to take the character yet. Like, we have an idea. Because story arcs like that aren't written very, very far in advance. They're just kind of like, okay, well, we have part 1, which is up to the Miami Championship. And then part 2, or season 2, as I think it's called colloquially, that's when everything got real. Like real messed up and all that stuff. Whatever they're doing, it's just getting real.
And before that, we've never really had, because you've always had, what was it, the Shadow Realm, the Orichalco Steel. Was there ever, like, actual physical in GX?
Not in GX, but maybe in GX. I'm not entirely sure.
But, like in 5Ds, there's the whole, they have to be on that dual cycle, trying to feel everything, and then Zexal,
Did Zexal?
Yeah. But it's all digitized.
Well, except in Zexal, if you're using a number, the effects like really mess you up. It was
real.
But that was pretty,
But this is the first time it's been real without having to have a plane. Like they made it real within like the performance arena, but it's real outside of it as well. So you think there's some sort of plane that they haven't established what it's called, like their own Shadow Realm?
Well, I mean, clearly there is.
Or do you think that the soldiers have developed a way to make it?
It's got to be. I don't think it's like a plane. I think it's like an extra planar effect. Sort of thing. Like,
gotcha.
When you travel through dimensions and stuff, there's the theory that whatever you go with, you bring it through and it comes with you, stuff like that. And so Sora, for all we know, Sora was like holding back during that first duel with Yugioh and then didn't want to hurt him or anything.
Because he was trying to get information. Yeah. That's why he got teleported back, because he revealed too much.
Pretty much. Yeah. And then, so every time everybody else shows up, any of the Xyz users, I mean, that duel between Sora and Shun Kurosaki, whatever, that was really rough because they were throwing each other around the arena the entire time, which is pretty neat. They've got something's going on that allows them to do all this stuff.
They're so well fit. People from the other dimensions, like you have a Sonic business going on when the beginning of the episode, or at the beginning of the first of episode 35, when Yugioh is running, he just like boom, see, and then even in episode 34, when Sora's being attacked by the Raid Rappers and the whole mountain's flying, he's just like hopping from rock to rock to rock,
ninja jumping.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how their physicality kind of incorporates into this. Especially,
that's pretty cool. And I don't know, I wanted to bring up a theory, like everybody from the Heartland universe, excuse me, they have some sort of like weird hair thing, but then of course Yugioh has it, and so does Yugioh.
Weird hair.
Yeah, but they have like 2 separate colors.
Oh, 2 separate colors.
Yeah.
Well, so does Yugi.
Well, yeah.
And so is Jaden.
I know, but I was incorrect.
Okay, sorry.
That's what I was saying. I was like, well, I had this idea, but it clearly was wrong. Brought on further by the fact that Yugioh's also got it, and so does Yugioh, who's the synchro guy.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're the whole like string theory, the whole extra dimensional thing.
Say the next version of Odd Eyes. Your thought on that?
So far, we've got a protagonist of a universe, which would be our standard universe is Yugioh, and he's got Odd Eyes, which has got the little pendulum chest things on him, the different color, the red and blue, and his eyes are also red and blue. And then when Yugioh shows up, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon looks remarkably a lot like the Pendulum Dragon. And I mean that's commented on in the duel, that they both are like roaring up against each other and like making out and shit. And so his beast, or his dragon, is black because the Xyz card is black. And then when Yugioh shows up at the end of this episode, in the previews they show that it's clear white something dragon, synchro dragon, summon dragon, whatever, something like that. And I mean, obviously it's white, and so is the synchro card. So if we're going to see a fusion user, a fusion Yugioh form, then it's going to be a purple dragon, hopefully. That's my theory.
Fuchsia fusions.
A fuchsia fusion card. I've got one theory as to what's causing this entire thing. And Reiji, his father, whose dad is Leo, the head of Leo Corporation. I feel that he is the one who's caused all this stuff. Because a few episodes prior, like earlier on in the series, they say that, he needs Kurosaki's help, right? And Kurosaki's like, no, screw you. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna have anything to do with you, until he brings up his dad, Reiji's dad. Reiji.
Akaba Reiji.
Yeah, Akaba Reiji brings up his dad, Leo, and he's like, well, we both have a common enemy, and it's my dad. So help me out. And so Kurosaki finally agrees. So what I'm thinking is that Leo he's the one who's breaking the dimensions down. He's the one tearing open the dimensions. And so that's the reason why they're all doing this stuff. And so that's why Reiji uses DDD cards, or DD cards, different dimension cards. Not just because, oh, hey, we've had this archetype so long in the, the actual TCG, OCG, we're not going to bring it in finally to the anime sort of thing, which they've done with other archetypes, which is pretty cool. But it's also put there because, hey, these are all these other dimensions that exist, so here's some other dudes. And during his first duel with Yuya, have they had other duels?
No, just fine.
Okay, during that one duel with Yuya, sorry, he has a pendulums, he brings out a fusion, he brings out a synchro, he brings out an Xyz monster. So clearly, something has had to happen, granted all the other fusions exist, but I think that's a bigger illusion earlier on in the series saying that, hey, this is what's going on, and it's Dad's fault, sort of thing. So,
that's true. It's very interesting. I think this series is going to be pretty darn good.
Pretty good, yeah. So eventually I'm hoping that, since this is the 5th anniversary series, or the 5th series, it would be just the 5th anniversary series. I don't know why I say things. And so hopefully we're going to see Yugi, Jaden, Yusei, Yuma. Yeah, hopefully we're going to see all of them show up, make an appearance, at least something. Because I think it'd be cool to bring back, not only would it be cool to, also with the new movie coming out or whatever, not only would it be cool to bring them back, but it'd also be awesome to bring them back with, pendulum support in the anime. So, dark pendulum magician and dark pendulum magician girl. Something like that.
Which they'll probably eventually come out anyway.
Yeah, which will probably come out anyway. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Just have everybody show up, and make it a cool, fun time. Because that's what they did for the 5th series of Digimon, which was, Cross Wars. Cross Wars in Japan. And then it was called something here. I don't care. So that's what they did. I mean, they had it was an anniversary series, and so Tai and Davis and Takuya, Takato, and then Marcus, since he wasn't even called Marcus, whatever. But yeah, so they all showed up. They helped him out. It'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool to see something like that. So that's what I'm hoping. And then, hey,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, hopefully, this thing will work out. I think we'll be able to set it up a little bit better next time. Yep. But yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to bring in a few other commentators. And, yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
Have a great day.